Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm getting ready for an exciting work event that I have later on this afternoon, and we are just going to be chit-chatting about what has been going on. I do also have some brand new products here that I will be testing for the first time, so I'll be sharing my thoughts along the way, but we have so much catching up to do, and I honestly don't have any specific inspiration in mind for the makeup. All I know is by the end of this video, I have to look cute, so you are about to witness one of the greatest catfish transformations in my channel's history. I just received the new shade of this Say Glowy Super Gel Illuminator in the shade Rose Glow, so I'm going to use this as my primer. And then the one and only purchase I made during Amazon Prime Day was this Tear foundation. And I've seen this everywhere. It's been viral all over TikTok, social media. You may have heard of it. I wasn't sure. I'm a little skeptical, so I just went with this small compact. They have a regular size, and then this is the mini. And I purchased shade 25N Mocha. I know the shade range is supposed to be a little bit tricky online. I opened it up earlier, and I think this should be a decent match. It's a little risky of me using a new foundation when I have to look cute later on and I have an event, but I'm just so curious, so we're going to test this out as well. We're starting on a positive note. This is going to be the Oreo cookie of story times. I just celebrated my 37th birthday. Last night I went to dinner with a few friends of mine. Actually, my friend Karen celebrated her birthday on July 6th. I just celebrated my birthday on the 13th. So it was a little group celebration and we tried a new restaurant. Well, I'm not sure if the restaurant is considered new anymore, but I had never been there and it was really good. We went to Rayo's on Miami Beach. Really excellent Italian food. And it was just so nice to get together with the girls, to celebrate, of course, but just to catch up with everybody and have a nice meal together. It's usually really challenging getting everyone together, especially over the summer because people have travel plans and, just different things going on in life. But we were able to make it happen. Even if it was a little bit late, it was so great and the food was outstanding. That might be the best meal I've had in Miami in a long time. Highly recommend. Skin is looking very rosy, very glowy so far. I love it. Going into our Tear foundation, I've only ever seen people use the little sponge that comes with it, so I'm going to use the little sponge. It's a cushion compact foundation, and it's meant to have really, really full coverage, so I'm going to try my best to be light-handed, at least at first. There we go. Now I can see myself. So if you have been following up with our new homeowner journey, then you've probably heard all about our roof issues. We had our first roof leak within 1 week of moving into the house. And since then, we've actually had 3 major roof leaks in that second bedroom. I never even shared the story of the third leak because it has just been such a pain point, such a source of frustration. Every time I think we've figured out the issue, something else happens and we have to go back to square one. We have to press pause for a moment and take a look at this shade match. It's not as terrible as it could have been. I'm not sure this is the best shade for me. I have heard that it oxidizes or it changes. I don't remember which one. I think I'll be able to make this work. It's not so terrible that I won't be able to blend it down the neck, but the coverage is also very strong. I went in with just a teeny tiny bit of product. My only complaint at the moment is just that this mirror is so small, and that's because I got the mini compact. That's probably not an issue with the normal size foundation. And once I wear it a few times, if I decide that I really like it, I can always go for the full size, but this little mini was 12 bucks. My chest still has some sunless tanner, so as long as I blend it down the neck, I think it should be okay. But right now this is a little distracting, so I have to blend this quickly. To give you a very quick recap, the first roof leak we experienced was because the gutters on the side of the house were filling up with leaves and debris from this one very problematic tree, which is a whole nother story. So we learned very quickly that we needed to make sure to keep the gutters clear. The second leak occurred because the roofers who had fixed all of the broken tiles left a bunch of debris up on the roof. They never cleaned up their job properly. We were naive and assumed that they knew what they were doing. So the second time the gutter was filled with a bunch of broken roof tiles, and that's what caused the second leak. That's when I got up on the roof in the middle of a rainstorm, just threw on a shower cap, scrambled up there, and was frantically trying to clean out out the gutters so that the water could properly drain. And I was just grabbing chunks of broken roof tiles. I was so frustrated and panicked in the moment because this was the second time this had happened to us. Immediately after the second leak, we called a gutter professional to come install brand new gutters around the house, and he put a mesh guard right on top. In the problem area, we now had a thick metal grate that was intended to filter out all of the big debris. So any roof tiles that could potentially crack, any big branches or sticks or anything that would fall from the trees on the roof would no longer be able to create a blockage. I would not be fooled into a false sense of security ever again. So even with the new gutters installed and the grates, I would still continuously check the roof, check the weather app. If there was rain coming, I would get up on the roof with my leaf blower and clean all of the debris off just in case. I felt anxious every time it was going to rain. So I was consistently checking the roof and just monitoring the situation to make sure that we didn't run into an issue ever again. We got into a good routine and things were fine for a while. This was a few months back before the rainy season really started. So one day I'm checking the weather app as I've gotten accustomed to doing, and I see that we're meant to have a lot of rain later on in the week. So I do what I normally do. I get up on the roof with my leaf blower. I make sure that there are no leaves, no sticks, no debris. I clean out the gutters on both sides of the house. I'm feeling really good about it. I feel like, okay, this is what it's like to be a mature adult. I'm a problem solver, taking the proactive approach, making sure we don't have any issues. I don't know what it was in my gut that I just never felt safe or secure in the new gutters. I just felt like we hadn't truly solved the issue yet. I don't know what it was. Intuition. Later that week, the rain came as expected, and it must have been over a weekend because my husband was home, and something told me that I needed to go check the second bedroom. Just peek in that room. We keep the door closed because it's just filled with bad memories at this point, and I almost avoid going into that room altogether because I just don't want to know what's going on in there. So I opened the door, I went into the room, I felt the wall, and it felt wet and cold and not soaking wet, and it wasn't a waterfall like we had the second time, but you could even hear it. I could hear the water getting into that room, and it was just shocking to me. I couldn't understand because in my mind, I had done exactly what I needed to do. I cleaned all of the gutters the day before the rain came. I cleaned the roof. So here I am convinced that it's not a gutter issue, it's a roof issue. We have a much bigger problem on our hands. We haven't solved it after all. And I tell my husband what's going on, and he's like, well, I'm sure the gutters just clogged again. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. I just cleaned the gutters yesterday. And he's like, yeah, I know, but this is what's been going on. This has always been the issue. I'm sure it's the gutters. And we're starting to go back and forth because I'm like, you don't understand. I'm panicked. He's not panicked. I'm panicked because I'm like, what the hell is happening? We thought we figured out what the issue was. We've been taking proactive measures to make sure the gutters don't get clogged. I just cleaned them. So this couldn't possibly be the issue. And I think that's where my frustration stemmed from, is because I just couldn't understand. I couldn't process what was happening. Like, how could this possibly be happening to us a third time? After all of the things that we've done to ensure this doesn't keep happening, we both run upstairs so we can try to see what's going on. We open a window in a bathroom. I'm sort of balancing on a toilet with my whole upper body leaning out, trying to spot the gutter, and I see it. Waves splashing around the gutter. For some reason, it was not able to drain again. He was right. For the second time, I'm getting on the roof in the middle of a rainstorm, cleaning out the gutter. And this time, you know what I found? There were not big chunks of debris, no pieces of cracked tile or anything big at all. I had to reach my hand with gloves on down to the very bottom of the drain, and I was just scraping the grill, and it was filled with just teeny tiny little pieces of debris and like pieces of leaves. The type of tree this is, it doesn't really have flowers, so I don't know if it's maybe the seeds. but just every little tiny little piece of dirt from the roof that had been washed in the rain to this little corner where it's meant to drain. And ironically, all of these little bits of debris would have easily just flushed right through the gutter as they're supposed to do had we not installed the metal grate. We thought we were doing the right thing, making the smart choice, and we ended up causing a different issue. We ended up finding new roofers who we really love to come by and fix it, and they ended up replacing the entire corner and taking a look at the gutter, fixing that whole section of the roof. Ever since they did work in that area and replaced all of the tiles, we haven't had any other issues. So that's not to say that we've finally fixed the problem. I would hate to get ahead of ourselves, but it does seem like we are in a quiet spell for a while where we've sort of figured out the issue. And I ended up removing that grate, so now all of the little bits and debris can properly funnel the way they're supposed to. So now we're feeling pretty confident. Things have calmed down, and about 2 weeks ago, I was just sitting at my computer at the vanity. That's where I usually do my editing, and I was editing some videos. Another rainy day in South Florida. We are definitely in the rainy season now, so even though it's been dry for the last few days, basically rains every single day in the summer in Florida. Not all day, but for maybe an hour, maybe a couple hours a day. Keeps things nice and humid. I'm just getting work done like normal, and I start to hear the sound of realistic raindrops and water, as if water is hitting metal at the front window, and my stomach just dropped. I think my heart sank, and I quickly opened up the blinds, and I see that there is a ton of rainwater coming in through the window frame. I honestly couldn't even figure out where the water was coming in because it was raining, but it wasn't like a horizontal rain. It wasn't a bad storm. There was no water hitting the window and getting in through the actual window. It was just sort of leaking down through the wooden frame itself. So bizarre. So I start panicking. It's enough water that I have to grab towels, and I start stuffing them in the windowsill area to catch the water. And I'm thinking, is there a gutter up there? Like, there's no gutter that could be clogged in this particular area. I don't know where the water is coming in. I grabbed my husband, he was working upstairs, and he came down to take a look, and we both could not figure out where the water was coming from. It was obviously coming from the rain, but just not really sure what the problem was this time. At least with the second bedroom next door, we sort of got into the habit where we knew exactly what the issue was every single time. We were just sort of idiots figuring out how to fix it finally. But with this, I didn't know what to do. I ended up grabbing some caulk and trying to caulk the frame. That didn't work. I ordered a bunch of that Flex Seal tape. I thought maybe I could put some tape over it just to hold us over until we could get somebody to come take a look. I didn't know what contractor to call, whether it was a roofing issue, a gutter issue, a window frame issue. That has been half the battle as new homeowners, just not really knowing who to call or who are the best people that can assist you in these types of situations. So long story short, I ended up calling our new go-to roofers to come take a look, and they came, inspected, fixed it in I think 3 hours flat, and we haven't had any more rain. It wasn't the window. The window frame will probably need to be replaced at some point, but it wasn't a gutter issue. It was just the paper was bad and we had a little roof leak, and it just happened to be getting in through the window frame somehow. I'm gonna go in with one of these new Hourglass Unreal Liquid Blushes. This is shade Whim. This is a really pretty pink. Oh, you do have to twist it. I guess the silver lining of that situation is now we do have a great go-to roofer who's incredibly responsive. Anytime there's an issue, like he's helped us with other problems, fixing cracked tiles, he gets back to us really quickly. He comes, he gets the job done, he knows where to source the tiles that we need. So we now have a great go-to person. It seems like in this house, that is a necessity. I could do an entire story time on contractor horror stories, but just to revisit our initial roofers, the ones who left all of the broken tiles that clogged the gutter, We found them through word of mouth, which everyone says it's the best way to find good contractors. Just talk to your neighbors, talk to people in the industry or other construction professionals. They were highly recommended to us, and we were told at the time, yes, he's a little bit more expensive, but he does such a great job, so amazing. So I felt like we were in really good hands the first time we were fixing the roof. He was a bit more expensive, but we were told that the work came with a 1-year warranty, so we could always call him to come back and fix any issues. When I called him to have him come back to take a look at the roof because we had the second leak, because of all of the debris that they had left, he never returned my phone call. To this day, I have never heard back from our original roofer contractor. Yeah, a 1-year warranty doesn't really mean anything if you can't even get a call back from the person who did the work. So they ended up just ghosting us. That was a hard lesson. But now we found somebody who we trust, who is really, really excellent, and at least gives me a call back whenever we have an issue. The leak in this room was fixed on a Friday afternoon. That Sunday, 2 days later, I woke up at, I think, 6 a.m. in a sweat, and I told my husband, it is so hot in here. Can you check the thermostat? You already know where this is going, don't ya? The motor on our main air conditioning unit broke in the middle of July in South Florida. In the middle of the summer when the heat is through the roof. It's no wonder I woke up sweating, and I usually like to keep the temperature a little bit warmer. My husband's the one who likes to keep things cold, so when I woke up in a sweat, I knew something was wrong. And it is the one thing that we knew about the house before we moved in, was that the air conditioning unit was old. So I had just had a conversation with him maybe a month before, and I said, we know the air conditioning is going to go soon. We should probably start, setting aside some money, saving for it. And that way we don't wait until it breaks. We can just go ahead and replace it when we have enough money saved. Nope, we had saved money for 1 month and then the air conditioning went. We ended up just replacing both units because the other one was old too. So we kind of bit the bullet and knocked both of them out at the same time. It would have died on us soon anyways, and they were able to give us a little bit of a discount since we were buying 2 units. So they told us. My neighbor was doing some landscaping, so I tried to fill in my eyebrows while they were making so much noise because I gotta keep things going. We have somewhere to be. So eyebrows are halfway done. I still need to set them in place. Among the madness of dealing with the roof leak and the air conditioning breaking, I was doing my makeup one day at the mirror and I noticed that there was a freckle on my ear that had always been there, but it sort of looked funny. I had never noticed it, but I think I had been filming maybe an Instagram reel, and I noticed that this ear looks fine, and this ear looked sort of red on the inside, and I had a funny looking freckle here. The freckle used to just look like a normal freckle, but this time it did not look like a normal freckle. It just sort of looked like it had changed. It was sort of scaly and dark, and I wasn't sure if maybe I had accidentally just nicked it with my nail, and maybe that's why it was so red. I just had a bad feeling in my stomach, and so many bad things had happened. There's another issue that happened that week that I'm not even going to get into it, but it just felt like so many things were going wrong. I was like, okay, I didn't want to be worried about it and have it in the back of my mind, so I just made an appointment with my dermatologist. I want to add just a little powder blush on top of the cream, so I'm going in with a little bit of this Patrick Ta. This is She's That Girl. So the dermatologist was able to get me in really quickly. I called and said, I just need somebody to check a spot really quick, nothing crazy. So I ended up having an appointment on Monday afternoon, the day they were coming to install the new air conditioning units. I had to wait maybe 2 hours to get in to see my dermatologist. There's always a long wait in that office, but 2 hours I was sitting there waiting. I did contemplate just leaving the appointment because I had other stuff that I really needed to get done, but I didn't want any extra anxiety hanging over my head, so I saw it through, waited for the appointment. Derm did a biopsy and she was really great. She said, look, if it's bothering you, we'll just do the biopsy, we'll shave it flat, and we'll send it out just to double check, but I'll go ahead and basically remove it for you, and that way you don't have to think about it, which I was really grateful for. A couple days later, it was the Friday before my birthday, I got a call from the office with the results, and as it turns out, my intuition was right again. Unfortunately, it did come back as a squamous cell carcinoma. So I did have a little skin cancer on my ear. I didn't feel overly panicked. I didn't feel overly surprised. Part of me felt like, okay, I knew it. I noticed something was wrong. I immediately made an appointment and I did the best thing I could do in the situation. My family has a history of skin cancer. Growing up in Florida, I've talked about it so much, but when you grow up in Florida and you're constantly going to the beach and getting sunburns your entire life, all through childhood into adulthood, on top of going to the tanning bed like an absolute idiot as a teenager and young 20-something, it's something that I know I have to be really cautious of. Now I wear sunscreen, now I wear hats, and I'm really careful about my sun exposure, but it's only been probably the last few years. Of course, now there's so much information and education out there. We know better, so we do better. I guess the cherry on top is that my husband has been away for work for 2 weeks. So he was here for the real chaos, the roof leak, the air conditioning, and then he basically had to jet off for work. And I did know ahead of time, of course, that I wasn't going to be able to celebrate my birthday with my husband. I knew he was going to be gone for that, but there's just something about getting bad news and being by yourself and then having to celebrate your birthday alone that's a little bit sad. So I did feel a little bit just down about the situation. By the time you see this video, he'll be home. He's actually getting home later tonight, and I'm so excited to see him and squeeze him. I've scheduled my Mohs surgery, so what they're gonna do is just go in and I guess they remove the spot, all of the cancer tissue. They make sure they get all of it because when she biopsied, she just sort of skimmed the surface. But that's not good enough now that the results are positive. So I guess they're gonna go in and just cut maybe a little bit more, and they use a die to figure out where exactly they need to cut. They might have to go deeper. Hopefully it's going to be very simple, quick, easy. I'm not going to have any major issues, but I really don't know. I have to go to a different office, so I'm seeing a doctor that I've never seen before. I'm in an office that I've never been to before, and I honestly don't think I really even know the right questions to ask. So now I'm starting to feel maybe a little bit anxious about the appointment just because I didn't really ask a ton of questions on the phone and I've just been doing Google research. I think that's probably the worst thing you could do is your own Google research. I didn't get any indication from the doctor's office that I needed to be incredibly concerned. I'm pretty sure this is just a superficial cancer that they should easily be able to remove. Fingers crossed that's the case, nothing spread, there's no complications, nothing like that. It was such a small spot on the ear, and now it's basically completely healed from the biopsy. There's just not that much tissue or not that much skin to stretch and remove in that area of the face. I don't want to panic, but I'm just not really sure what to expect. I'm grateful that the surgery is scheduled and the doctor's offices have been communicating and they're moving things along quickly, so that is one good thing. And I will just be so happy and relieved when I can put this behind me now. Of course, I'm going to continue to keep you posted and I'll let you know how everything goes on Monday. But it was really important for me to share this with you because it's such a great reminder that not only do we have to wear sunscreen, please, for the love of God, make sure you are wearing your sunscreen. Apply your sunscreen all over. Don't forget your ears. I also want to encourage you and empower you to be your own advocate, especially when it comes to your health. If there are any appointments that you've been putting off, any doctor's appointments, annual checkups, if you've seen anything that makes you feel a little bit funny, but you're just not really sure, don't put it off. Make the appointment. Go to your doctors, get your checkups. Go to your dermatologist, go to your gynecologist, do whatever it is that you need to do to prioritize your health, even mental health. Physical health, mental health, it all matters. Not that it changes anything, but just to illustrate my point, I actually had a dermatologist appointment maybe 2 months ago, and it was just an annual checkup. I feel like we were supposed to do a full body scan, but it was just a checkup for my prescriptions. She might make new recommendations or want to change a prescription, so every once in a while you do have to have that face-to-face appointment where you review your prescriptions together. So I was just in the office a couple months prior, and I think she probably did check my chest because, she had done the Clear and Brilliant, but that's about it. She might be looked at my arms, nothing major. Of course, when you're doing a full body check, you want somebody who's going to be very thorough, check the scalp, the back of the ears, all of the body parts. But it's really not her fault that she didn't say, hey, what is that spot on your ear? We really have to look out for ourselves. And if you see something that looks sort of funny, or you have a spot that's changing, you really have to speak up for yourself. And it was a good birthday reminder that life is precious, life is short, and we have to just be grateful for every year, every moment that we can spend with our loved ones and not take our health or any aspect of our lives for granted. So that's what's new with me. That's what we've had going on. It's a lot. I don't mean to trauma dump on everybody, but just wanted to get the information out there. Things aren't always as they seem on social media, and I'm not somebody who rushes to the phone or jumps on Instagram stories to share in the moment. So it takes me a while to be able to share with you, but I am an open book. I like to share, but I can't do it right away. I need to take some time. So I'm finally far enough removed from everything that I can let you know what has been going on. Makeup is now done for the day, but I need to quickly get ready, finish my hair, throw on a cute outfit so I can get out the door. So that completes today's Get Ready With Me video. Thank you so much for watching and listening to me vent and tell you everything that has been going on. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Leave me your comments, questions down below. As always, I will be linking everything mentioned. All of the products will be listed down below in the description box for your convenience. And for more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell.